How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Ass Hat Podcast on YouTube. Now, this is kind of an oddity in my collection because this is a comic series that I have known about since I was a tiny kid. Like, most members of my mom's family or my dad's family, if they read any comics as a kid, they read Classics Illustrated because they didn't want to read the books for school. This is Classic Illustrated. This is issue 164, 15th Center, featuring stories by the world's greatest authors, the Cossack chief, Nikolai Gogol. Beautiful painted cover. I got probably 30 to 40, maybe as low as 25, but I know it's at least 25. I'm leaning more towards 30, 35, maybe even 40 copies of these. See, there's damage. Every one of them had a little bit of damage. There's a couple of them that were in better shape than others in a trade with somebody years and years ago. I don't even remember how they got them. It's like I always wanted to Classic Illustrated. I always heard about this shit for years, back in the day. You didn't really have... Hey, somebody wrote their fucking name in it. Michael James. Thank you for... Published by and copyrighted by the Gilton Company. Got a year on this shit? No, they do not. And I know there's a way to, because these went through multiple printings, I know there's a way to figure out what printing an issue is by the cover and other things. I'm never bothered. I have an Overstreet. I actually picked up, I need to dig that out one time. I got a couple of old Overstreets, the antique mall in town. This is Cossack Chief, Taras Bulba by Nikolai Gogol. And these were, just comic book adaptations of classic literature. As I guess the kids didn't have to read the books, but by going on 164 issues, this is not the end of the run. This went on for a long time. Disappeared. I want to say there was something in the 70s with them. I'm not 100% sure of that. Then in the mid to late 80s, maybe the early 90s, but I want to say this was the late 80s. First Comics out of Chicago. I think they're in Chicago by then. Revamped Classics Illustrated, and the only one I've ever wanted is Bill Sienkiewicz did a Moby Dick, and that I just really, because it's Bill Sienkiewicz art, and I've tried to read Moby Dick and I just can't make it through it. I'm sorry, I've tried. I enjoy reading. That's just a book I didn't enjoy, but usually in these older ones you got the same artist. It looks like on every issue the art looks very similar. I don't know if they were doing like a house style or what. Sorry about that. I'm having to work with cords today. But they're not horrible. Look at this guy's hair, dude. Whoa! Looks like Ray Said Fred meets a flock of seagulls there. And I've read a couple of these. This is not one of the ones I've read. This is just the first one that popped up when I was going through boxes. Look at that. Excuse me. And these are actually, there's a few little nicks and shit, but the paper's not brown that much. They don't have that musty comic smell. I was kind of surprised. It really shocked me because I've got some older comics. I've showed off I've at least put up one of my issues of Blue Bolt. I got a couple issues of Blue Bolt. I got some of, was it Top Notch? And Modern Comics, which was military comics before it became Modern Comics. Black Hawks are the biggest thing to come out of that. And there's a Black Hawk story in the issue I got. Then I got a, I think it's a Famous Funnies. It's one of the ones that was known for reprinting old comic strips. I got a later issue of that, and they all got that kind of funky old comic smell too, which I like. And they get a little bit on the author. That's kind of neat. I like this. Now that you've read the Classic Illustrated edition, don't miss the added enjoyment of reading the original. Obtainable at your school or public library. Okay. I'm gonna have to check, see if my public library, like, hey, this book told me, this comic told me to come get this. So it says right there. Do you have this book? And the odds are I'm going to get told, no, we don't, but we can enter the library and loan it for you. You know how to fill out the card. You've done it many times. Who knows? A short story by Guy de Maupassant, part 3. The Bride Comes Home to Yellow Sky. A short story by Stephen Crane, part 3. I don't know what the fuck, I guess. Well, they're just short. Men of Action, Tutmosis 3. And subscribe today. Then on the back you get a list of, and there's a way to tell how old one of these is by the listing on the back and all that shit. And if it's a painted cover or a drawn cover and all that. I just saw people, I never hear anybody talk about Classics Illustrated anymore. I don't think the younger generation of comic readers, like, Really, I'll be honest, you know, I'm in my early to mid 40s. Most of the kids I grew up reading that read comics same time I didn't know about these. I knew about, like I said, my parents, my aunts, my uncles, older cousins, because one side of the family, I was the youngest grandchild of like 20 something. Yeah, big ass family. And I had cousins, you know, when I was born were in their 20s, you know, old enough to be like an aunt or uncle, you know, my parents. They tell me about this kind of shit. But yeah, the Cossack Chief. I like that cover. I'm sorry, my hand is really shaking right now. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Leave a comment. Thank you, everybody. Comments. As you can see, I read every comment. I don't reply to every single one of them. Some of them I don't feel like they need a reply. But, you know, everyone that needs a reply, and it's rare that I don't reply to them, but I really enjoy reading them. But hope everybody enjoyed that. Oh, I'm repeating myself here. All right. Anyway, bye-bye. Talk to y'all later.